I hope you're sitting down because I'm about to tell you that President Trump did something that was good. Now, I need everybody to get that that's the difference between this show and a lot of hacky shows on the right, where you're not going to see them. If there's an example of, just for argument's sake, President Obama doing something positive here, I'll give a perfect example. In his second term in office, he was freeing a lot of nonviolent drug offenders. He was commuting and pardoning their sentences. Freeing nonviolent drug offenders, to me, is the biggest no-brainer on the planet, and it's obviously correct, so giving credit on that is the intellectually honest thing to do. But you don't hear from people on the right credit to Obama for something like that, ever. You're not going to hear it. In fact, Sean Hannity went after him saying he was releasing these terrible people, these violent criminals, even though they weren't violent, and that it was a bad thing. So, but we don't, on this show, we're not hacks. We tell the truth. And here's a great example where I'm more than willing to say decent job to Trump in the same way that when he initially pulled out of TPP, I said decent job. Now that was nonsense, though, because later on he turned around and started slipping provisions of the TPP into the new NAFTA negotiations, of course. But at the time, you had no choice but to give him credit because that was the right thing to do. Now, here's what he did this week. Hundreds of millions of dollars in federal student loan debt owed by tens of thousands of disabled military veterans will be erased under a directive President Donald Trump signed Wednesday. Trump ordered the Education Department to eliminate every penny of federal student loan debt owed by American veterans who are completely and permanently disabled. Trump said they won't have to pay federal income tax on the forgiven debt and called on states to waive their taxes on the loans too. America, he said, owes its heroes a supreme debt of gratitude. Trump's announcement at the AmVets National Convention in Louisville elicited a loud round of applause from the crowd of more than 2,500 veterans. He signed the directive after addressing the gathering. Only about half of the roughly 50,000 disabled veterans who qualify to have their federal student loan debt forgiven have received the benefit, and the administration blames a burdensome application process. So this will wipe out an average of $30,000 in debt owed by more than 25,000 eligible veterans. Now, the other really fascinating part of this is he's literally just doing it by issuing a directive. So he doesn't have to, he's not going through Congress. Just like, yeah, we're going to do this. Okay, now we're talking. So credit on this. I'm a little bit shocked in the first place that any disabled veterans had student loan debt. I mean, that seems like a crime up front. We should never even gotten to the place where a disabled veteran is massively in debt for school anyway, but they are, and so this is the proper reaction to that. Now, I will say, and this is really important, if you're agreeing that wiping out student loan debt is a positive thing, then why on earth would you stop with just disabled veterans? Why wouldn't you take the step and say all veterans? Why wouldn't you say all veterans, but also, hey, you're Donald Trump. You say the forgotten man and woman would never be forgotten again. You say you're the blue-collar billionaire. So why not say, hey, all working people, if you have student loan debt, we're going to wipe it out. Now, we're inching closer and closer to the real solution here, which America's dad, Bernard, has released, which is just wipe out all the student loan debt. Just wipe it all out. By the way, you want to talk about tremendous economic benefits? If you wipe out all the student loan debt, that would be so great for the economy because these are all people who want to participate more in the economy and they can't because they have this debt which is holding them back. So if you wipe out the student loan debt, a bunch of people are going to go out and lease a new car, purchase a new car, or make moves to try to own some property, get a house, whatever it may be. I mean, we know that this would happen. This is the opposite. Like Richard Wolff says, the right believes in a trickle-down economy. On the left, we should believe in like a trickle-up economy. Put the money in the hands of the people at the bottom who need it most, and then they'll immediately, it's not like they're going to fucking hoard that in their bank account. They're going to spend it because they need to. So, and that's how you really get economic activity happening. Whereas if you just give money to the rich, they're just going to put it in their fucking bank account or hide it in the Cayman Islands or buy a third yacht or some shit. So Listen, credit to Trump. This is a good idea, but what I would say to Trump is, why are you just stopping with disabled veterans? How could you say to veterans who aren't disabled, you serve the country, but fuck off? Seems harsh. How could you say to working people, hey man, you just tried to improve your life. You just tried to better yourself. You just tried to create a better future, and now you're way in debt. Tough cookies. How can you say that? You can't even file for bankruptcy on student loan debt. It's uniquely odious in that respect. We need to wipe out all the student loan debt in the country. President Bernard Sanders, say it with me. That's what he's going to do. He's going to wipe it all out. Not do these weird half measures, where we're only going to wipe out a certain percentage up to X amount of money and make sure that you have to enroll in the program and do X, Y, and Z. Just do the right thing. We know what the answer is. Free college, wipe out the student loan debt. And even though I'm giving Trump credit here, what I would say is you just agreed to the logic of the left. There are some people on the right who wouldn't say wiping out student loan debt for anybody is a good idea. They would say even for disabled veterans, as a matter of principle, if you owe a debt, you have to pay it. That's like a far right conception of how this would work. That's how they think about it. No, it's not a good idea to wipe it out at all. Like, you shouldn't wipe it out because they have a debt. Now they have a responsibility to pay it. You're building character by going through the process in order to do it and doing the right thing. That's a right-wing approach. What Trump just admitted and agreed to is, I don't agree with the right approach, the right-wing approach. I agree with the left when the left says wiping out student loan debt's a good idea. Trump just disagrees with where the line should be drawn. He's drawing the line at disabled veterans. Well, no, you should go further and say veterans, and then you should go further and say working people, and then you should go further and say everybody. But thank you for at least agreeing to the logic of the left here and saying, yeah, wiping out student loan debt is an awesome thing for people, which is why I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it for disabled veterans. So, definitely a good move, but go further, go further, go further. And it's funny because Trump, if he actually did certain things, everybody would defend him. Like, everybody would defend him if he did certain things. Like when he released Alice Johnson because Kim Kardashian spoke to him, and this woman who was behind bars, nonviolent drug offender, he released her. Everybody gave him credit because it's the right thing, whether it was left wing, right wing. Everybody was like, hey man, that's awesome. So do the right thing. Wipe out all the student loan debt, and then we'll all give you credit. And Trump loves nothing more than credit. Give him credit, give him credit, give him credit. So. But yeah, I'm more than happy to give him credit when he's right on something. In a way, again, that the right would not do when it's a Democrat. I already told you, good example of that was Charlie Kirk. Good example of that was Sean Hannity. They went after Obama when he freed these nonviolent drug offenders. Then when Trump released Alice Johnson freeing a nonviolent drug offender, they praised him. So they don't have a principled stance on it. They don't look at the issues themselves. They're just looking at it through a partisan lens. I don't give a shit about partisanship. I give a shit about truth, and I give a shit about the policies I care about. And this is definitely better than not doing it. I just wish he would go further.